And it's must talked in the media in last one day that the survey is not, people are not supporting. So, he has some domestic compulsion. He will have to face some criticism, some musics in coming days.
Of course, even his approval rating had taken a dip. As minute he initiated a launch on the nuclear facilities. Thank you for your answer. I will, of course, relate this. My question, next question would be to Ambassador Norman Floyd Barnes, who joins us from Washington, District of Columbia. Mr. Barnes, yesterday we've seen Donald Trump, before getting on to Marine One helicopter, we've seen him reaching out to world media, and he blamed both Israel and Iran immediately after a 12-hour ceasefire that was initially called, and that how Israel and Iran had violated the term, and we can see Donald Trump being bothered by both of their retaliation even after a US mediated ceasefire. My question to Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes, how do you see this as Donald Trump is now also visiting The Hague for the NATO summit?
First thing, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon from Washington, D.C. That situation with the president aboarding the helicopter, the whole world was able to witness. He was visibly upset. He was not pleased with the actions of, as he expressed, Israel, Iran. He expressed that he was trying to, again, bring peace to the world. And these two opposing parties did not understand or want that. It showed that the conflict is not going to end anytime soon. Yes, there's a ceasefire, there's a pause, but the actual underlying factor has not been addressed yet, and they need to be put on the table so we can get on with this. Because today we have a ceasefire. Tomorrow, matter of fact, before we get off the phone, someone may violate that. Israel approaches, we want to attack, we want to destroy. Iran approaches that we do not want you to continue attacking us. We want to defend ourselves. We're going to retaliate. We're going to get hit back. So we got one hitting, one receiving, one hitting, one receiving, and this is going on. And the initial problem, the initial concern has not even been approached. We're hurting. Both parties are hurting right now, and the president and his administration is trying to bring these people to the party so the world can move on. That is what's happening right now.
Most definitely. Thank you, Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes. I will add on regarding the NATO summit, the first of its kind held in The Hague. The strategic shift, actually now there is a raise of defense spending, almost about 5% of the GDP of the NATO nations. And of course, Donald Trump is now in The Hague meeting all the leaders of the global world. And furthermore, we are yet to see a meeting between Donald Trump, the leader of America, and Volodymyr Zelensky, the leader of Ukraine. As you know, both were seen in the Oval Office, and they both had a spat regarding fighting Russia and the ongoing war, which is now past the 3.5-year threshold. My question to Mr. Mainul Alam, NATO is an alliance of 32 member nations, and it is one of the strongest alliances, military alliances in the world. At this moment, the Russian offensive towards Kiev is continuing, as we see multiple attacks and drone strikes right before the NATO summit. My question to you, how do you see this situation, and do you think with the looming concerns of nuclear fallout that we had in the Iran-Israel war, right now Russia and Ukraine are still transferring hostilities, firepower? My question once again would be, can NATO stop the Russian aggression towards Ukraine?
If NATO is able or is capable to take any step to make a halt on the war, it would have been done in last 3 years. So, it is a routine affairs, NATO leaders, 32 nation NATO leaders sit, and you know the Ukraine is in a process to join NATO as the country of Russian region of that empire, Russian empire, which made hostile to Russia, Vladimir Putin, and made the Russian war or Ukraine war happen last 3 years back, 3.5 years back. So, it is the matter of time, and when they will join the Western, Ukraine will join the Western this forum, but this forum, I believe, the Hague meet, right, Netherlands Hague meet, they will come up with the issue of Iran and Israel issue. It is American agenda. America will bring it up on the top of the table. NATO affairs is, of course, Ukraine issue will come, and for this Zelensky is there, but Israel and Iran conflict will come up on the top. My intention, my hunch, Trump will bring it on the top of the meeting.
Of course, this comes in as the nuclear sites haven't been completely diminished as of yet, and Iran is still holding the key to restructuring their nuclear sites as well.
Iran will anyhow they will maintain their this property, this strength of property. So, it is the headache of the of President Trump and other Western world. So, it is their motto, goal to destroy or destabilize or not dysfunction this, but it is time would say when it will be done. They will be able to do. They might not able to do in near future.
Thank you once again. I will now like to shift back to Ambassador Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, D.C. There is breaking news regarding New York City election, mayoral election. Mr. Mamdani delivers a political earthquake in which Andrew Cuomo is also seen in the past Democratic voters election. My question to you, how do you see the New York mayoral election going on? What's the latest that you have with us?
The latest information from New York is that the former governor Cuomo he has conceded. He has conceded to the to his political opponent, and he has now basically shifted his support towards the new mayor-elect to come in. So that situation in New York, we have a new historical situation where a Democrat is not going to be the mayor. That's where we're right now. It's a change. It shows the mindset. We have a lot more new and young people who are now looking at situations, and the old and outdated ways of doing things tend to be changing.
Most definitely, it does seem like a very new infrastructure that is going to take place, Mr. Norman Barnes. My next question would be regarding the military capacities. Once again, the United Kingdom is to buy 12 nuclear-carrying F-35A jets from the United States and join NATO nuclear mission. Once again, this comes as the Russian aggression as seen in the backdrop. My question to Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes, you see war has become the trend in the year 2025, and we see multiple places, multiple areas across this globe we call home, taking part in military spending, taking part in active warfare, active war zones. Of course, this notion from the United Kingdom to buy nuclear-carrying F-35A jets from the U.S. is a precursor to an event that might take place in the future, definitely a nuclear warfare which can come ahead. My question to Norman Floyd Barnes, where is your position in this matter? The United States of America is now helping and aiding all of its allies. Would you think that this is a likely build-up of a future war or an escalation?
The concept of actually the president is in NATO. He's talking about that right now. The budget, equal spending. The intent is right now, the United States has taken the burden on supplying military equipment, supplies, technology to many countries. For example, the conflict right now with Israel and Iran. We are spending a lot of money on providing protection, missiles, shielding, and whatever. Our Congress and our budget has a budget set for spending. They are set guidelines. We have adequate supplies for, let's say, a certain missile defense system. But the missiles, the equipment supplies are being utilized in these conflicts. Ukraine, particularly now with Iran shooting so many drones and missiles towards Israel, the United States has to use their arsenal. We have adequate arsenal, but the arsenal is being utilized. And when you use things and don't replace it, you have a problem. The concern is with how volatile the world is going on, with incidents going on, and we are based all over the world. Do we have enough supplies and equipment if we need them other places? If we use everything in this conflict right now with Israel and Iran and Ukraine, if something else flares up in the rest of the world, will we have an adequate supply of equipment to respond to that? When you take away, you don't replace, you know the answer. The answer is no. It's not going to be there. Yes, you can. The purpose is not to deplete your reserves. So the question now is to other places. We want you to help us out. We want you to, we will spend, we will buy, we will sell you things, but we want you to utilize it versus using up all of our resources. So we will have a balance out. And that's one of the things they was talking about, the budget. We need to balance out up the budget on military spending, contributions in other countries, and that will lessen the burden. Right now, there's a great burden on supplying and keeping things up right now. So that is the situation right now. We want people to do their part.
Thank you once again, Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes. Let us now look at the greatest humanitarian issue in the 21st century. Israel kills more than 80 people in Gaza, including dozens of aid workers, according to a report by Al Jazeera. More than 400 Palestinians have died, and the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, GHF, cites since operation began, and the total number of casualties in the Israeli offensive towards Gaza now stands at 56,000 killed, and with 131,000 injured ever since October 7th, 2023. Of course, we know what happened on October 7th. The deadly attack on the side of Hamas was carried out on Israeli land, and that is how the escalation began between the two parties in one of the states. Of course, the entire world had condemned Israel and asked them to come back to the two-state formula to run Israel and Palestine. My question to Mr. Mainul Alam, you see in this humanitarian crisis, even when Palestinians are now looking at raw materials such as flour to run their households, basic human necessities that are now being provided, as you must know, you are a journalist, you must know this, that Israel had a blockade ever since the month of March for 2 months, which has caused a famine-like situation in Gaza. And what happened was, even after this 2-month blockade, the innocent civilians who were trying to get some aid, they had been met with firing. My question to you, Israel on one front had arrived at a ceasefire with Iran. However, such an issue with the Gaza humanitarian crisis on the large, how do you see this kind of offensive? Do you think that this kind of offensive should subside as well as the Iran-Israel issue?
Yes, this is Israel has opened another front. They are in a front. They are in a front like last 6 months or so on. But they have they have opened another front. You mentioned rightly that from our early boyhood, we are listening, we are hearing one thing: how to settle this dispute, Palestine and Gaza Israel issue. It's a two-state formula, two-state theory, adopted by United Nations in 60s.
Yes.
Yes. So, it is not being implemented, it is not being even done. Why? If the two states is allowed or they agree, the other people behind, other forces behind, they do not allow it to do the same, because they have the interest here. From the far thousands of miles away, they are dictating this land, they are protecting the lands, they are strengthening these people, I mean Israel forces.
Definitely.
Netanyahu is a puppet, and he is also domestically facing so many oppositions and criticisms. So, it is multiple interest, Netanyahu's Israeli domestic interest and the person and the force, big force behind them, that is US. Over decades, it is a democratic administration or Republican administration, whoever. You mentioned the humanitarian issue, and the whole world is watching, observing, and you block food, you block shelter, medicine, you mentioned the necessity, the needs,
Basic
minimum
human
needs of the human being. You have blocked the route and everything. So, this is much more, you mentioned close to 60,000 casualties.
It's rising every day.
Rising every day.
Even 2 weeks ago, it was somewhere across 50,000, 54,000.
Below 50,000, yes. So, who will ask them to stop, to listen the holy words? No one. Only God can save them or tell them to listen all these things, because what's their motto? You run your country and you want to destroy your neighboring country. This is the issue, and all the forces, and you taking shelter and strength, money, arms, ammunition, defense ammunition from the your big brother, protector. This is happening. Who will stop them? I don't know where they end. And they have opened another front attacking Iran in last 12 June. So, things are moving one after another, unfolding everything. So, let us wait and see what it will happen, how things move.
Let me have a compliment question to Ambassador Norman Floyd Barnes. Thank you once again, Mr. Mainul Alam. Of course, this would be pertaining to the Israel-Gaza issue. Freedom Flotilla is a company or is a movement that was created on the seas in order to arrive at the aid distribution in Gaza. A British flagged flotilla carrying food and supplies, including activist Greta Thunberg, was intercepted earlier this month by Israeli forces in an attempt to breach the Gaza blockade. Of course, as you may know, that there has been a naval blockade of Gaza ever since the early 2000s. My question to Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes, this was obviously seen as a way of addressing the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. A ship which would be carrying a lot of aid arriving at Israel. Of course, according to the media report, that was thwarted by the Israeli army and Israeli defense forces. My question to Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes, how do you see this issue? I need your comment regarding the Gaza issue, as multiple casualties are reported on a daily basis.
The situation with Gaza is a human tragedy. First thing, humanity, people have a right to live, breathe, and take care of their families. No situation should people be brutalized like this. Yes, you have differences, but people need to live. They need to take care of their family. They need care. They need help. There should be no restrictions on humanitarian efforts, help, and support to the area. Either you provided or Israel provided the necessary help for the people, or you allow other people to come in. There should not be a situation where people are in a situation of genocide. So my position is we help people. We don't kill people.
Of course, I know that you are an ambassador who supports peace and peace mediation, which is very required in today's multipolar world. Ladies and gentlemen, before I leave, we will be talking about multiple instances of the China, Taiwan and US tensions. After the break, please do stay with us. Welcome back to International Affairs. I'm your host Shamsul Alam. We are of course joined with Mr. Mainul Alam, Executive Editor of Delhi Ahmad Shamoy, and from Washington, District of Columbia, Ambassador Norman Floyd Barnes. I would like to take everyone's attention to Asia, in specific the China and Taiwan relationships. I'll give you a story from the South China Morning Post. Beijing's massive build-up raises threat of Taiwan Strait conflict, according to NATO Chief Mark Rutte. Now, we can conclude that there has been some kind of aggression. Historically speaking, China and Taiwan do share some kind of relationship, but there has been massive build-up of hostilities in that. My question to Mr. Mainul Alam, how do you see China's aggression in the South China Sea? Of course, China is a very important trading partner with our country, Bangladesh. However, they do have ambitions towards the South China Sea, and they see Taiwan as a hostile nation. How do you see this unfolding?
No, you see, the South China Sea dispute is a long-standing dispute with other nations. You see, it's a Chinese territory, but they have shares. Who have shares? Philippines, Taiwan,
Vietnam,
Japan, and other countries. So, China is a big country, control over the sea, and it's a region. So, Taiwan is a developed economy. They have relation, and they have independence, of course. World recognized is a economically important country, and China is coming up with one China policy, you understand. This is the problem. You bring everything, all the administrative territory under you, but Taiwan is not like that. They have some sovereignty, sovereign region, sovereign power, sovereign authority from their people and their economic activities. You understand, both countries has strong economic ties, a trade partner, one to each other. But you want to suppress, sometimes China wants to take over the land, take over the control, the missile, naval ships, warships, they everything to do in routine basis, through the South China Sea. This is the problem. So you cannot suppress one nation who is growing, who already in the path of development, who have global connectivity. Even Bangladesh has connectivity with China. We use lot of imported items from Taiwan.
And not only so, much of the roads that we have are highway roads.
Yes.
They were done under the joint venture of Chinese help as well.
Yes.
I'll give you the news that we have recorded in the studio. U.S. destroyers transited the Taiwan Strait this week as China scrambled jets in response, and also China launched cyber attacks in Taiwanese banks in June, which is of course deniable but traceable. Even though having cultural significance between both, they have share more similarities than differences, but still they have a hostile notion towards one another. Your comments, please.
Yes, you mentioned about the cyber attacks on economic banking system and trade, stock market as well, and other economic field, even trading field. So they are trying, but you mentioned traceable, not mentionable, but I believe, I am sure Taiwan has made counter situation, counter mechanism to oppose or to dysfunction all these Chinese attacks.
Of course, I'll give you.
And America, America has the similar thoughts. They have trade row with China. It's a long trade battle. And with the support of America, Taiwan is not alone. We can see not alone to oppose or counter Chinese attacks, all sort of attacks.
Of course, a member of the Quad is definitely nearby China and Taiwan, Japan.
Yes.
Who has increased its military spending in the last budget, in the latest budget, in which Japan said it would spend up to 60% of its national GDP in military spending, and that would definitely build a garrison in Japanese military. I want to ask you a question. Definitely, you see a pattern with the United States. We see that the United States itself is a massive nation with South America, the Latin American countries in the south as well. but how it has shaped global governance and dominance. Even in the Iran-Israel conflict, we've seen that America has American bases, what they would like to call, in the Middle East, and similarly so in China and Taiwan. Taiwan is now allied up with American forces given the threat of China in its backdrop. My question would be to you, America's policies, internal foreign policies are in such a manner that if they wish to choose military action, they can do so in any part of the globe. That is definitely detrimental to various world sovereign nations. What do you think about it?
Yes, you rightly mentioned America's policy on global affairs varies from region to region. You see America's policy in South Asia, you see America's policy in Chinese region or South China region, or dealing with Japan. America and Japan has long standing trade and defense relations. You see American troops.
They were enemies initially with the bombing of Pearl Harbor and Hiroshima, and then they had a pact for many, many years after the World War II.
World War II. And in Japan Sea or in Pacific region, America has defense presence for years. I think thousands of troops are there in the name of security or some other reason. And Japan is allowing for themselves or for the region as well, or to counter Chinese threats. So, it is American policy towards different countries is different. You cannot mention it one line. You see the Taiwan and America, Japan, China and America, Japan, America is different, because you need the hegemony, US hegemony. They are financially, economically big power as well as big defense power. So, they can play with all these countries, they play, and especially in the Trump era.
Yes.
In the Trump era, you see the last times from 2016 to 2020, that time strong battle, but his family members are in business with China, you understand, his son-in-law or daughter or someone else. So, this is the not only the defense issue, the issue is economic and business. Especially in the Trump era, he is a big businessman, business tycoon, owning casinos, resorts, or all things.
Well, China is known to be the world's greatest manufacturer even until now, even with certain labor shortages, and of course, the most demanding market would be the United States. When Donald Trump took his seat recently as the 47th President of the United States, he had initiated reciprocal tariff. It had the entire global order shaken.
Yes.
Especially in Asia, you see Cambodia, Vietnam, Bangladesh, India as well.
India, Pakistan.
The powerhouses of
Sri Lanka, Nepal.
Sri Lanka as well. The major economies which have a great national output towards the global market, they were tariffed very high upon all above 36%. This was seen as a very retaliatory move by United States. You mentioned that Donald Trump is a businessman and he takes heed of the economical issues around the globe. Today we see that Donald Trump, he was the main reason why India and Pakistan held off their escalation that happened earlier last month. And even though both of the sides deny that it was Donald Trump and his administration do claim that it was our mediation that stopped two great nations in South Asia to stop their hostilities. And similarly so, we are now looking at Israel and Iran happening. Donald Trump should be nominated or could be nominated as a contender for receiving the Nobel Peace Prize. Of course, the greatest war that we have seen in this generation would be the Ukraine-Russia war, and is still conclusive, it is still ongoing. What do you think? Donald Trump, is he a breaker for peace? Is he someone who's supporting peace throughout the entire globe?
Wonderful. Thank you for raising the issue. I was very eager to talk on this issue about the nomination of President Trump as a winner of the Nobel Peace. So, you understand, this thing came up on the spotlight last week, after Pakistan nominated for Donald Trump to be winner of Nobel Peace. Why? While in this South Asia affairs, India and Pakistan, I was confirmed that there will be no formal conventional war, but it was going to happen. The tension took over the whole region and globe as well, because this is the potential region of the world, South Asia. So, India, Pakistan, they stopped, but Donald Trump had to announce mediation by his Secretary of State and other administration people. So, Pakistan took up the leverage or advantage to announce Donald Trump as nominee for Nobel Peace. Now, you mentioned he could be or he should be. Today, I was listening on CNN, one of the Republican lawmaker, he also formally announced the nomination and put it to Nobel Committee. This morning, I was listening, you are aware of the Republican lawmaker?
Yes.
Yes. So, it is going to happen. Let us see how the Nobel Committee awards the announcement and how decide them. But the question is, he is a man of peace to be Nobel winner. You know, it's a political affair. Nobel Peace Award is all through. It is dictated or managed by American people, American administration. I don't go details, but there is global people perception. How this peace award is selected or nominated or decision is done. Donald Trump is peace personality. Is he a saint? He is campaigning for peace of the humanity for years. He is a US businessman, US politician, now American president. And he is interfering, he is intervening everywhere, defense intervening. This just Israel issue, attacking on Israel, attacking Israel by Israel to Iran establishment.
Yes.
And it come back, so-called ceasefire, as Iran attack on Bahrain, Kuwait, in different American establishments, bases, then they came for the mediation or ceasefire announcement. So, is it a peace process? Is it a issue for peace or considering for peace? I am doubtful. Personally, I am totally doubtful.
Of course, that Donald Trump is okay. Donald Trump, of course, he is the leader of America. Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes, I hope you are with us. I was asking a question to Mr. Mainul Alam regarding Donald Trump and how he seems to be the world mediator when it comes to peace talks and when it is definitely related to multiple war fronts. Previously, we've seen Donald Trump's mediation in towards the escalation and between India and Pakistan, and very recently we see the same kind of ceasefire technical alignments in Israel and Iran. Will we see a ceasefire opportunity between Russia and Ukraine, courtesy of Donald Trump? There has been rumors that he should be nominated as a Nobel Peace Prize awardee. Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes, your comments would be useful.
I have no comment about the Peace Prize situation. The situation with Russia, a ceasefire with Russia and Ukraine, that is something I don't believe is going to happen anytime soon. There's conversations about that. It's now become a situation where all or nothing. Either Russia's going to take over the entire country, or they're not going to leave. I don't think there's going to be a ceasefire. There's been this conflict been going on for a long period of time. So it's a situation now, are we going to finish it or are we going to get out of it? So I don't think we're going to have a calming down period. It's either a period of, we have an exit plan or we're going to continue.
Thank you, Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes. Of course, the NATO spending budget and of course various countries in the European Union is seen eager to support Ukraine in their defensive capabilities against the Russian aggression. My last question to Mr. Mayoral Alam. Of course, this is an international affairs talk show, but one cannot resist asking a fellow journalist regarding their own country, Bangladesh. We are at a crossroads. An interim government has been taken control over Bangladesh's policies. We do look forward to an election. How do you see this upcoming process? Is definitely going to be in the coming months. What do you think?
And we look forward, you mentioned the process, we look forward for a democratic transition. Decades or 15 years, 3 elections held here, but it was all faulty and fraud elections, widely known, and in fact the generations, the new voters, over millions of voters could not vote for the first time, who are new voters. So, July upsurge is a good lesson for us. The younger generation came up with a dream, and the interim administration is led by our Nobel laureate Chief Advisor Dr. Yunus. He is in the process, he is in the work of fulfilling the dream. Dream is establish democracy, bring back people's voting right, and establish the good governance in all sectors against the looting, disappearances, and the bank dacoity. All the things happen. Less governance, bring the good governance in action, and let's move forward a future Bangladesh, because highly potential generation is here.
Of course.
Most potential country is this, the land and its people and the manpower, the strength. And we look forward a democratic Bangladesh, future looking leadership who are in the process. There are some disputes on certain issues, but it is very much possible to overcome all the disputes, say for the reforms, say for the new set agenda, the constitutional changes, and all these things in a nutshell, if I can tell. But we need to overcome all the unsettled issues, and it is the government in the process through different commissions to discuss over the table with all stakeholders, mainly all political parties. This morning I was listening Dr. Ali Riaz. He expressed his hopefulness. I want to add, we are hopeful that it is possible to bring the dream into truth.
Thank you once again, Mr. Mayoral Alam. Gentlemen, this has been a lovely show. I thank you once again for your deep insight and contributions to our program. And we were, of course, joined with Mr. Mayoral Alam and Ambassador Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, D.C. And as I draw closer, today is June 25th. Today is June 25th, which is celebrated as Croatia's Independence Day from former Yugoslavia, and also on this day in 2009, pop star sensation Michael Jackson had departed this world. That's it for today. I am Shamsulam Panto, and I will be bringing you the latest in tomorrow's edition. Thank you so much and have a lovely day.